Scott Britz here, CrossFit athlete, founder of Battle Cancer and part of Team MyProtein, and I wanted to do a video on motivation. It's one of the biggest amount of questions that I ever get about staying motivated to train, to compete and to do different things in my life. People ask, how do you stay motivated? How do you get motivated in the first place? And what do you do sometimes when there's a little wobble on that motivation when you've been going? Maybe you hit a plateau and you think, well, I ain't getting better than this. Maybe you've been slogging away and you don't realise how far you've come. Here are a couple of my tips learned from powerlifting, learned from life and learned from CrossFit about how to deal with motivation. Number one, mates. So, yep, your friends. And during lockdown, you're not able to see many people, but that doesn't mean that you can't have your gym buddies. Everybody's missing the bro that they'd go and squat with. They're missing their best girl that they would go and do their bench sessions with and lift and do everything else with your best friends at the gym. Doesn't mean that you can't support each other. So yes, you can push each other through sessions, but now more than ever, it's about connecting with those people. And to stay motivated, you need to lean on others. So one of my top tips is make a motivation group. Pick some people with a similar set of goals as you and people that maybe you compete with if you're competitive, or people who are on a similar journey to you, or other people like your coaches, other coaches that you know, and people who can actually throw some real advice into there and support each other. Be honest. Share your goals in there. Share when you've had not a very good day. Share when you've skipped some reps or you've not done something very well, because that other person is going to keep you accountable and push you. So grab Instagram, grab Facebook, grab WhatsApp, make a group, start sharing some stuff with each other. Think about the good times and support each other through the bad times. And that's why my first step on being motivated and staying motivated is mates. Number two for me is a purpose. So yes, motivation is a fantastic word, and some people just seem to have boundless amounts of energy and they always seem to be motivated. I am not one of them. People often say, like, why do you train for 3 hours a day? How do you think about your food and your training and everything else? And it's because I've picked a purpose. And for you right now, that might be the hardest thing that you're having to do. Now, one of the most inspirational people I've seen is a guy called David Goggins. He's a runner, he's an ex-US Navy SEAL, and he says that motivation doesn't exist without a purpose. The purpose could be a fundraising charity event that you decide to do towards the end of the year. That's exactly why we have Battle Cancer, where you can plan for something you've never done before and get fit for that. Or it could be a competition. It could be a competition between your friends. It could be a competition where it's a complete set of strangers. Or it could be a personal goal for you. Maybe it's to lose weight, maybe it's to tone up, maybe it's to just change your lifestyle and feel fitter. But if you don't have a purpose, it's really hard to stay motivated and accountable. So pick a purpose. Second tip. The next tip is something for your mind, and it's something that you're going to have to think about. It's going to be super personal to you, but I'll tell you mine and I'll tell you why it worked. And the next one is a saying. So people in CrossFit always say you've got to get uncomfortable, being comfortable in the uncomfortable, that you have to learn to be able to deal with pain as you push for extra repetitions, as you push through running, you push through swimming, you push through heavy weightlifting. And quite often we talk to ourselves, and that motivation is basically you having an argument with yourself to see how much you can continue, whether that's continuing with a diet plan that you started or whether it's continuing with something physical that you've set out to do. Now, one of the things that I developed when I was powerlifting and competing at a world level in that was had a saying that I would say over and over and over again in my head. So when I started to question myself, I'd tell myself to shut right back up and have that saying over and over again. Pick something that's personal to you. Maybe it triggers a memory, it triggers a feeling. For me, it was just always the one simple word, and it was lift. It was always just lift, lift, lift. So as much as my mind said, you ain't gonna lift that, it's way too heavy, just think lift, 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 lift. And that would keep me, when I was starting to question myself, back on track with something just in my mind. The next on my list is goals. So no, that's not a carrot going towards an orange. It's trying to get to the moon. So for me, when I left powerlifting and I got into CrossFit, my ultimate goal was to compete at the highest level of CrossFit that I thought was attainable. and that was at sanctional level events trying to push to get towards the CrossFit Games. Now, that is a huge goal, and if that's the only thing that I ever focused on, my motivation could very quickly burn out because that goal takes a very long time and so many steps to get to. When people decided to go to the moon, yes, they said we want to go to the moon, but they had to pick so many small goals up until then. The first thing we had to do, build a rocket ship. Then we had to decide how to get into space. Then we had to go a little bit to the moon. Then we got a little bit closer, got on the moon, and then we came back. Now that's the same as the goals. So one of the things I want you to do is, if you have a big goal, maybe it's to lose an amount of weight, maybe it's to aim for a competition, maybe it's to compete in a certain sport, that's the end. But break that down and you'll stay way more motivated, you'll have a lot more success, and before you know it, you'll have reached your own version of the moon and you'll have smashed that target and you'll be motivated all the way through. So break down the big goal with some smaller goals. My last tip for staying motivated, along with watching other people, learning, reading, seeing what other sports people do, is one last physical thing that I think is worth a try, and that is a treat and how. We call it the cookie jar. So lots and lots of people that have faced real adversity in their life, be it physical, be it through mental pain, huge feats of physical accomplishment, they make themselves a cookie jar. Now, when you're in the midst of trying to clean up your diet, whether you're aiming to run a marathon, whether you're aiming to come and do a battle cancer event and you've never done functional fitness before, it can seem like a really long road ahead. And there's times where you're going to want to go backwards. It's what we do, we're human, and you can't beat yourself up for it. But if you make your own cookie jar, so you fill that with treats. Now, instead of being a high sugary treat, with it not being like falling off a bandwagon and going, having a night out or drinking some alcohol or doing anything that's kind of disrupting you, those cookies in there are going to be memories and accomplishments that you've had before. So get a piece of paper and write down the accomplishments that you've made in your life. Think about the times that you've overcome adversity, and that's one of the biggest things you can do, is write them up, screw them into little balls and throw them in that jar. And when you think, I want to reach out for something here, go pop that hand in that jar and you're going to pull out a memory and an accomplishment that you've had in your life before. And you replace something that could be harmful as a treat to a treat to remember you how far you've come and the amazing things that you've done before. Ultimately, motivation comes from inside. Other people can inspire you, but motivation is built in here, it lasts in here, and the accomplishments that you have inspire others. So you be your own motivator. Hopefully with these tricks and tips you can do some really cool stuff, and it might just help keep you on where you were going. But that is my guide to motivation with a few tips, both mental and practical. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and it works out. Make sure you check out the rest of the videos on MyProtein's YouTube channel. Click like, click subscribe, and until the next time, pick that goal, motivate yourself, and go smash it.